Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The Vikings are sticking with Carson Wentz against the Chargers. Also, Cooper Flagg made his NBA debut with the Mavs, and it's officially time to panic for Justin Herbert and LA.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Minnesota Vikings are going to take on the LA Chargers in LA on Thursday night, and JJ McCarthy will have to wait another week to come back and play quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. We don't have to wait anymore to talk to our pal Luke Braun from Locked On Vikings now. And Luke, this is, of course, going to be a difficult matchup for the Vikings. The Chargers coming off a tough one last week. But the quarterback situation has been the thing that everyone wants to talk about. What exactly is going on with JJ McCarthy and Carson Wentz?
So it's that a starter is injured and the backup is playing. That's what's happening. The fact that there are so many counter theories to that is something that feels like it only happens in Minnesota. Maybe we're all bored. I don't know. Maybe the Lakes aren't doing it the way they used to, but that's really what's happening. There's been, because JJ McCarthy's first two games went poorly and Carson Wentz has gone 2-2 as the starter now. And that's, I guess, better than the 1-1 that JJ McCarthy was. And statistically, there's an argument. Film wise, I don't think there is an argument. But in terms of just like the way Kevin O'Connell talks about things, it's about, hey, JJ McCarthy, maybe he'll be able to come back and play this time. If it were not a short week, if it were a Sunday game instead of a Thursday game, McCarthy might have played in this game. Not McCarthy might have suited up as the backup. So they're just waiting on a high ankle sprain. This would mark 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. That's a fairly average timeline for high ankles. That can kind of vary a lot. Some guys play through them after 10 days. Some guys wait for it to completely heal up, and that's kind of more what the Vikings are doing, prioritizing long term. You don't want to re-aggravate the injury, and safety, being really, really, really careful with that high ankle and making sure everything is like that his base is right and his body isn't like compensating to pain. And it's just kind of tough to do this on a short week. So they're going to go with one more from Carson Wentz, but all reporting is that week 9 against the Lions, it'll be JJ.
Throwing them into the lion's den, so to speak, on that one. Look, we don't have to spend any more time on the conspiracy theories. People's mileage can vary on what they believe there, and that's fine. Maybe we will never know the whole truth and nothing but the truth on that one. But they are going to play on Thursday night, Luke, in LA,
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, exactly right. And so these are two teams that right now in their divisions, in their conferences, they need these games to keep pace here. So how can the Vikings do that? Coming off a game in which if Carson Wentz gives them anything in the first half of that game, they might have won.
Well, we could say that about everything but the Bengals game that the Vikings have done. The Vikings have not scored a touchdown in the first half outside of the Isaiah Rodgers Supernova Bengals game. Otherwise, 6 points a half in all other 5 games.
Wow.
Or no, I think they got 9. No, it was 6. Yeah, it's been horrible. They've been getting off to these crawling, slow, terrible starts. I don't know if they just take a half to figure out what the other team is doing, like they forgot to watch tape or something, but it's been really, really bad on offense. A lot of that is Carson Wentz just not really being an NFL caliber quarterback anymore, if he ever was one. But a lot of it has to do with super overthought, overcooked play designs, various O-line issues. They've been banged up as heck on the O-line. They're a little healthier than they were before the bye, but there was a time when they had, 1 of 5 starters out there, and that's going to hold things hostage, which is a bummer because if you look at the tape, guys are getting open all over the place. Justin Jefferson is still Jefferson. Addison is open constantly. Jalen Naylor's open constantly. TJ Hawkinson's open constantly. It's like, can we just get somebody to throw the ball to these guys? So it's been a really, really frustrating year, but they have to get off to a decent start. And I think on defense, they have to do a better job of getting pressure than they did last week against the Eagles. They blitzed a ton. Those blitzes did not get home, hung the coverage out to dry, and Jalen Hurts could just hang back there and cook against depleted coverages. They've got to get Justin Herbert off his spot, and they've got to make him make some harder plays than what just Jalen Hurts was able to just kind of pick whatever he wanted.
I was going to ask you about that because this defense, they've been solid. Like, they've been good. But there was some thought that they could be great. And they were great for stretches last year. Why is it not quite the same level this year?
It's, again, overthinking. They've really sacrificed.
You're saying?
I'm sorry?
It's a big brain coaching staff right now.
Oh, the biggest of brains. They sacrificed a lot of their run defense over the offseason in service of trying to get more pressure, because that's really part of what ended their season so unceremoniously last year, is that they couldn't get to those quarterbacks. They couldn't get to Stafford in LA. They couldn't get to Goff in Detroit, and they take those losses really hard. So, they get rid of Harrison Phillips, who's a run defender, and they replace him with Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen. Those guys are pass rushers. But then suddenly they can't defend the run. And I think against Philadelphia, they overcorrected to this problem and took all their edge rushers out of the equation and started pass rushing with 4 D tackles, which happened. They did their whole D tackle depth chart on the line and just tried to blitz with that, and it didn't work. So they're really struggling. It's like the Vikings don't actually have any idea what they have right now. They are completely clueless as to who is good on their team, who they want to start at various positions. I think we're up to like 4 different some version of a benching on this roster, and it makes you wonder whether they've ever done a self-scout before. I think right now they're reeling from a season that has not gone the way that they thought they were going to kind of walk in and have all this talent and do all this really cool stuff and be a contender in the NFC again. It hasn't worked out that way, and now I think they're spiraling.
Stay up to date all year on the Minnesota Vikings by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Vikings on your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, Cooper Flagg made his official NBA debut. Before we get to that, we take a look around the rest of the league's opening night. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for the weekend with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits how I like to bet in the moment. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It's quick, it's easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Brunson and the Knicks scored a season-opening win over the Cavs.
The New York Knicks couldn't beat Cleveland in 4 tries last season. In fact, they were often embarrassed in their attempts, and it takes them just one game in the 25-26 season to get it done. What's up, guys? I'm Gavin Shaw, the Locked On Knicks podcast, talking you through a 119-111 victory for the New York Knicks over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mike Brown was absolutely cooking in his coaching debut. The Knicks closed with 5 out and Deuce McBride on the floor, something I was calling for all last season. We rarely saw under Tom Thibodeau. Jalen Brunson able to pick apart the Cavs defense as he was blitzed, get the ball to Mikal Bridges, making plays 4 on 3. It was all beautiful. The defensive playmaking for OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges was just outstanding. A combined 9 steals plus blocks for the two of them, including a game-sealing bat away on an inbound from OG, reading it like a young Ed Reed, knocking the ball away from Evan Mobley, sprinting up the court, double pump dunk, combined with his late corner 3, won this game for the New York Knicks. They play 11 players, young bucks like Tyler Kolek and Ariel Hukporti really flashed. It was just a great night to be a fan of the New York Knicks. Still need to get Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson healthy. When they do, this team is going to be really, really exciting.
Desmond Bane and the new look Magic squeak past the Heat.
This is Phil Rossman-Reich, the host of Locked On Magic here at the Kia Center, as the Orlando Magic have just defeated the Miami Heat 125-121, a game that was nowhere near as pretty or as dominant as you'd like to see from a team with championship aspirations, but they still showed championship guts. They still showed the guts to get this win, making all the 50-50 plays at the end of the game to win this one. Wendell Carter with huge offensive rebounds. Jalen Suggs with huge steals, huge rebounds down the stretch. They made the shots they needed to make. They scored the points they needed to score. They got the stops they needed to get. And the Magic are 1-0 on the season with a big win over their division rivals. A lot still to clean up, a lot of turnovers. Some clunky offense. The defense was wildly inconsistent, not Magic defense that we're used to seeing. But Orlando will take the win. A happy crowd here at the Kia Center. The Magic defeat the Heat 125 to 121.
Tyrese Maxey went off in a nail-biter against the Celtics.
Sixers start their 2025-2026 campaign with a win in Boston, holding off the Celtics for a 117-116 victory led by Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. Maxey drops in 40 points in the season opener, including 3 threes that helped jumpstart a Sixers offense in the fourth quarter after they scored only 18 points in total in the third. Then VJ Edgecombe came up with a historic debut, scoring the third most points ever, 34 points in an NBA debut, and the most points in an NBA debut in 71 years. So yeah, it went really well for VJ Edgecombe as the Sixers held off the Celtics. Joel Embiid, he did play for the 76ers in the opener. He logged 20 minutes and did not re-enter the game after the 9:18 mark of the fourth quarter. He came up with 4 points.
And Tennessee Baseball's Tony Vitello has been named the new manager of the San Francisco Giants.
Well, there you have it. Wasn't sure if it was going to happen. It got a little sketchy for a second, but Tony Vitello will be the next manager of the San Francisco Giants. The first time a college coach has made that jump. And if this works, people, this could turn into a brand new pipeline. If it doesn't work, not only will it shut down that pipeline before it gets started, Buster Posey might be out of a job. But I'm very excited for Tony. I'm very excited for the Giants. You have to make bold moves, and that's exactly what Buster Posey is doing. Will it pay off for him? We will have to wait and see. Exciting stuff. Locked On Giants coming up a little bit later. Don't you move, all right? We're going to have that for you. Be sure to like and subscribe so you can hear all that I have to say. I got some intel that I want to share coming up.
Cooper Flagg had a bit of a slow start in his first official game with the Dallas Mavericks. Locked On Mavs host Nick Angstad breaks down the top overall picks performance in Dallas's opener.
In the first quarter, second quarter, when the Mavs had him out there as like point guard, they was like, all right, we're doing this big lineup and all that. He looked timid, didn't look like he knew what he was doing in the lineup and all that. Then it looked like the third quarter, he probably got some coaching and probably got some, all right, you got to go get yours. Like, we're going to put you in some lineups where it's just like Brandon Williams, Jaden Hardy, Dwight Powell, Max Christie, and you. And you're like our offense. You're the one that's going to have to make this work. Like, it's going to have to work because of you. And so I think some of those gave him a little bit of confidence to like, all right, I got to go get mine. Also, Wembanyama wasn't on the floor for some of these. And that is notable because he wrecked everything the Mavericks did. And there are several times when I watched Cooper Flagg drive into the lane and be like, all right, I can't finish or I can't try anything because Wembanyama is 3 feet in front of me or like waiting to come over and help defense and all that. 4 plays that Cooper Flagg scored on, and I think they all show different aspects of his game, and I think they all are positives for the Mavericks because he's going to get more confident in all these things. Third quarter, 11:44, the opening play of the second half. PJ Washington starts with the ball. He drives with it across the half court line, and Cooper Flagg goes and sets a screen for Anthony Davis. Gets a switch. Harrison Barnes then is now guarding Cooper Flagg instead of Stephon Castle. Castle gave Cooper Flagg some fits for sure. He's going to struggle with some of these guys that, that are small, quick, really good hands, all that kind of stuff. A lot of guys struggle with it, but we'll see how Cooper Flagg learns and grows from this experience. Harrison Barnes is on him. Lively has the ball, dribble handoff where he hands off the ball to Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg runs around Lively. Lively sets a screen, and Harrison Barnes goes under the screen. Harrison Barnes goes under the screen. Cooper Flagg recognizes it right away, rises up for a 17-footer because Victor Wembanyama didn't come up and help quick enough on there, and Harrison Barnes went under the screen. The switch didn't happen quick enough. Cooper Flagg recognized it, boom, hit a jumper. That he can take advantage of that is massive for defenses. They're going to have to respect that at some point, and that's going to be really good for him because then they're going to go over the screen, and there's a couple plays where a player went over the screen that I'll talk about that he took advantage of it there. That's the first play. Second one, third quarter, about 2:46 left. This was like 3 in a row and then a foul he got. There was just like his little spurt that actually happened. Cooper Flagg pushes the ball in transition. He drives to a spot. He posts up. He bumps the defender, gets some contact, rises up, and a little touch on his floater with contact. Just a really, really good touch like play in the paint. If he's going to have smaller guys on him, this is stuff he's going to have to be able to do, is to drive to a spot, post up, take advantage of your size, rise up over a guy, throw a floater up, and that showed really great touch. That's a shot like not a lot of guys can do because you need to have a certain kind of touch there. PJ has this shot. We'll talk about this in a second, but not many guys do. Then like the very next play, he gets a screen from Brandon Williams. Then a dribble handoff from Dwight Powell. So Dwight Powell has the ball. Cooper Flagg comes and runs around him. Julian Champagnie goes over the screen. So he does respect the shot from Cooper Flagg. He goes over the screen. Then Cooper Flagg drives to a spot against Luke Cornett, who was the center. Wemby wasn't in the game at this point. And Cooper Flagg turns and it gives the one-legged fade. Gives the Dirk with the leg up and all that. That is a shot. If he can get that going, Mavs fans, you have seen what that shot can do. If he can get that shot going with his size, he can score thousands and thousands of points in the NBA on that shot alone, because it's really hard to guard. It's hard for anybody to contest that shot or anything like that. I love that one. I thought that was a really good one. Last shot. Minute 3 left in the third quarter. Cornett was on him. The Mavs were running this smaller lineup where Flagg was like kind of the center, basically, right? Like it was Cooper, I think it was Cooper Flagg, PJ Washington. Then it was like Nembhard, Hart, or it was like B. Will Hardy and like Christie or somebody else. And you're just like, what is this lineup? The kid was trying all kinds of different things in this game to try and juice the offense in any way he could. But this one, Cornett was on him because Cooper Flagg was essentially the center. Flagg was in the left corner. And all of a sudden, Cooper Flagg gets the ball. He realizes this, takes a jab step, drives baseline. He stops, pump fake. Keldon Johnson had come over to help, and he bites on the pump fake, and Cooper Flagg has this up and under move with touch around the basket. The stuff around the basket is stuff that he's going to have to do, and he's going to have to be able to take advantage of centers in the same way he has to take advantage of smaller players earlier when he got the bump and the floater. He's going to have to take advantage of bigger players too, like a Luke Cornett, where he's guarding him out in the perimeter. I've got to be able to take one jab step, drive baseline, take advantage, finish around the help defender.
Stay up to date all year on the Dallas Mavericks by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Mavericks on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Coming up, it's officially time for the Chargers to start panicking. The LA Chargers have lost 3 straight, and a 4th loss to the Vikings would certainly bring the panic to LA. Locked On NFL host Tyler Rowan and Michelle Majuk explain what LA needs to do to turn things around, or can they do anything at all?
This is just what the Chargers do, right? They look good, and you're like, okay, this is going to be their year that they finally put it together, and then all of a sudden they just fall apart. Now maybe they get it back going. Justin Herbert still looks very good, but they just have to be more consistent. And with Carson Wentz, it's just so silly to me. He is just a bad quarterback, right? And just because he beat the Bengals and the Browns, people are like, ooh, he's better than J.J. McCarthy. It's like, hey, you beat 2 really bad teams overall, and those are their wins this year with the Bears in week 1, where they had to come back from a big deficit in the 4th quarter there. I feel like, is JJ McCarthy really still injured, or are they just that scared to put him back out there?
And finally, Sunday evening's contest between the Steelers and the Packers isn't a revenge game for Aaron Rodgers. It's just Sunday night football. Unfortunately, this one is in Pittsburgh, not Green Bay, so we have to save the Lambeau soap opera for another day. Rodgers says, while it was nice to beat a former team in the Jets earlier this season, nothing is going to come close to feeling how it's going to feel playing the Packers after giving 18 years to the organization. It seems to be all love for the 4-time MVP. We'll see if Pittsburgh fans reciprocate that this weekend. And if you buy that there's no extra motivation for Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love or Matt LaFleur, I've got a beautiful bridge in the desert to sell you. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, does the ship keep sinking for Herbert and the Chargers, or do they get back in the win column? So at least until tomorrow, stay Locked On Sports Today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on Sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.